Hey, good morning, people. No idea what time you'll be watching this, but right now it's morning. Might hear an airplane going over. That's because I've got the front door open. It's a beautiful day outside. Figure I'm going to enjoy it while I can before the winter time gets here and it gets cold and it's terrible. I don't know how people enjoy that shit. Anyway, but besides that, so what I got today is something kind of simple, but I'm sure this job will drag out like every other video that I do. They always turn up being like 20 minutes long or an hour or something crazy. But I got to make a front bead sight, a fiber optic sight for a customer's shotgun. He wants me to cut the barrel down, and then he wants high visibility front bead for a home defense shotgun. So what I'm going to do, although I could probably buy one for $6, just honestly for the videos, I'm going to go ahead and make one, show you how I do that, go through the whole gambit of materials and machining. And I finally got a tripod, which my camera's sitting on, so you ought to be happy about that. I'm not sitting here jiggling around and shaking the camera. But yeah, so let me get all my materials gathered and then I'll show you what we're looking at here. Alright guys, so what I'm starting out with here is a pretty small die. It's a 648 thread, which most of your shotgun bead sights are usually 3x56 or 6x48. So I'm going to do the 6x48. It's going to be a lot easier to make the threads, and I'll get to that later. But then I've got a number, what number drill bit is this? Number 59? It's 59 thousandths drill bit, and I think it just so happens to be a number 59. But anyway, it's a tiny little dude, and that'll be for the fiber optic rod. Then what I've got here is just a random piece of scrap steel. It's not just plain mild steel, it's tool steel. So I think this is 01 drill rod. It hardens really, really well. It's not that I need to harden this front side or anything, but I will show you something I'm going to do with it. So I'm just going to use this because it's going to end up being pretty small. There's going to be a couple of tips and tricks to machine something as little as what this is going to turn out into. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I also have no idea, no plan, no drawings, no designs of what I'm doing. So I'll just stare at this long enough and I'll come up with something in my head that I think will look nice and will work well enough. And I already said look nice, so I bet you guys didn't know that I'm a hand model in my free time. No, not really. I'm too ugly for that. But anyway, so let me get things set up. We'll start machining this, turning this dude down. Once I determine what diameters I'm going to make everything, and then we will go from there. All right, people, I got you in as close as I could without getting in my own way. So hopefully you will be able to see pretty good and you can check out what in the world I'm doing. So got my little piece there I showed you over on my workbench. What I'm going to start doing, snug that dude up, I'm going to face it off and get rid of that nasty looking nub that's left on there. So touch off on it, go in a couple thousandths, just to clean it up real nice. Just to make it pretty. A little bit more. And some people take a file to knock the burr off of there, but what I do is kick the lathe in reverse. And just like that, it knocks that little burr off of the edge. Gives it a chamfer. So, honestly, did that just to hold the thing. Let's see something real quick. Don't ever leave your key in, or your key in the chuck. That's bad news. I actually know of a guy that got killed working on a gigantic lathe, and he did that. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do is I've got to turn. I'm going to this portion that's already there. I'm going to turn that down to the thread size to 137 thousandths, so I can run a die on it. But in the meantime, yeah, I'll do that real fast. And you'll have to excuse all the guys that constantly rub their Harleys, and you'll hear that a lot all day, because there's a kind of like a Harley consignment shop next to me, and everybody's cool and everything, but that's just aggravating as all hell. I don't know. Just remember, guys, I ride a bike too, and I know this for a fact. Whenever you're cruising down the road and you think you look all cool and shit, nobody's thinking the same thing. Nobody's ever going to just sit at the stoplight and be like, oh my God, that guy looks so cool. just keep that in mind. You might feel it, but nobody else does. Anyway, now that I've probably pissed a couple of you off, let's continue. You can see the run out on that little nub there. So, even though I don't need the whole length of it, we'll just kind of take a cut on it. That's way too light. Take 10 thou off of it. That way it gives me something to mic and I can see where I'm at. Sure, I'll catch hell for that one too. You really don't want to touch your part when it's moving, because if it's got a burr on it, it's going to mess up your finger pretty bad. Alright, so we are at 179. Gotta go to 137. Just trying to clean it up a little bit and see where we're at. And once this thing starts getting as thin as this is going to be, you've got to take really light cuts, or else you'll bend it, or you'll cut a taper. We don't want a tapered thread. Kind of skim over it a few times, because I know it's going to bow the thing in and taper it. These are just some of the pain in the ass things you've got to do when you're dealing with really, really tiny parts. And remember, folks, don't do what I do. Let's see. Okay, so I got the 158. Gotta get the 137. That's the 21 thou difference. 21 thou difference. So let's see here. as you can see, it's kind of taking a little bit of a cut. Like I said, that's because it is, what's the word I'm looking for? Deflecting. It's deflecting my piece away from the cutter. And that's because I'm trying to use carbide and take light cuts. It doesn't matter. I mean, turning the thing into a thread. I mean, you don't want to taper, but... And we are a half thou over 137. So I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to mess with that because it'll be fine. One thing I'll do, chamfer this edge. Also might help if I had the lathe forward. Now what we'll do is face this off. Try to face this thing off and give a good surface on this. And hopefully you guys can see this. I have no idea. Now what we need to do is try to pull this thing out, and I think I'm going to take the diameter down to probably I say probably 200 thousandths, the 60 thou fiber optic rod, so that should work. Let me make sure the camera's still pointing. Yep. All right. Still pointing at my workpiece. So I'm good with that. So we'll try to turn, and you'll see what I'm making. How close do I get to the chuck? Okay. You'll see what I'm making as I'm making it. It'll start to make more sense to you. So. Rethinking this as I look at it, maybe 200 thousandths would be too small. And you'll see why. Yeah, we'll go 1/4 inch. So we're at 284. 284. So we need to take 34 off of it to be at our 1/4 inch size. So 32, so 16. 15. I know it probably freaks you guys out that I keep sticking my finger there, but the reason I do that is if there's any fine little chips or anything like that, it'll come off before I mic it, or else if you're micing on top of a chip, you're just going to get a false reading. So that's actually 255, and like I said, I'm actually just kind of doing this with no plan, so we'll leave it there, and I think it'll be good after I machine the thing and mill it and drill it and all that jazz. So we'll see how it ends up. Again, this is always taking longer because for whatever reason I get nervous when I'm on camera. I think by now I wouldn't, since I've put out a few videos, but let's see if I can miss my chuck. Nope. What else was I gonna say? Besides getting nervous. Getting nervous, and oh yeah, it always takes me longer to make even the slightest, tiniest little part because, well, you know, I'm trying to do this and explain things and not sound like an idiot and everything else. Break that edge. Thing I will do, take that thing out of gear and try to get a decent, somewhat decent finish. My carbide insert is about needing replaced. It's not really giving good finishes now, but I use it mostly for roughing. Something like this, I mean, who cares? It's just it's doing its job. And then this sandpaper is doing its job, so as long as we can make it pretty and functional, that's all that matters. Another thing too you always got to take into consideration is if I'm making a part, making the part might only take 10 or 15 minutes, but you've always got setup time, you know, stopping to measure things, and the fact that I never have a plan. I just kind of try to envision something in my head and then just make it work. Because if I try to put something on paper, it won't work. It'll never work. I don't know why. It's just how I am. Let's see something here. Get this dude out of the way. And the part that I am not sure how it's going to turn out, because I do not have, or do I? Do I have a, I'm not sure if I've got a die holder for this size. Give me 1 second. You're going to hear the microphone knock around, and I'm going to check. So, oh, I am back. I do not have a die holder this small, so I'm going to God, I'm gonna have to do this by hopefully be able to do it by hand, which I doubt it, because like I said, this is tool steel. But put a little bit of cutting fluid on there, this dude down, or of course it'll be in my way, so we'll remove the tool post holder. Give me a little bit extra room. So let's see something. Let's see. One, is this thing got just tapered. Some of them have a starting side, some of them don't. This one has a starting side. Does it? Yes, yes it does. So this is my 648. Put the dude there. And then what I'll do, bring my tailstock up. Shoot. Now I need to figure out a way to hold this die. That's going to be the hardest part, or else this would have been cake. This would not have been bad at all. I had to order this die separately, and mine have hexagonal. My dies that I've got with my set, I think they're hexagonal. So this one doesn't fit my die holder. And that was an oversight on my part. I did not even consider that or think about it. So what I'm going to do is some true hillbilly shit, and I will be back in a second. I am back again. So I'll tell you, when you see somebody bust out a pair of channel locks, that really instills some confidence. And I'm just trying to keep the tailstock to keep this thing straight. Which it is doing. So, and I know this is like watching paint dry, watching somebody struggle through with a pair of channel locks. Now we're far enough that I can take my tailstock away as a guide. Let's see here. I gotta do the whole shaft. That's what she said. Anyway, sorry, had to, couldn't help it. So, get this dude back on. There we go. Nice and straight. Install my hillbilly pliers. But hey, works. And anybody that thinks that these will mar up that die, you are very wrong. That is hardened tool steel. You could pretty much hammer on that thing. You're not gonna hurt it. Now, I'm just trying to get the chips out of here. And I'm making this thread way too long. I'm making it long, and I'm going to cut off the excess. I wonder how much of all this stuff I'm going to edit out. Oop. I got to give you guys, any of you guys out there that do YouTube videos and are super professional and high quality and all that jazz, I gotta hand it to you. That takes forever to edit out and make look good. I don't get it. It's not that I don't have the patience. I don't have the know-how. Thankfully, my phone has its own editing software, and it's, well, I guess you could say good enough. Yeah, we'll just say it's good enough. But that's what I use. I guess some guys must get big time into all this jazz. Let's see here. There we go. Somebody is pulling up. I will be back. Alright, so back again. Somebody had pulled up. I had to take care of that. Get them written up. And come back to this, so. Now, try not to run my die into the shoulder. I mean, you can take it up to the shoulder, but just not crank the thing on. You'll mess up your shoulder of there. If nobody knows what I'm talking about, the shoulder of the part, and you'll start stretching the threads right behind the die. You don't want to do that. Such a fine thread, it's almost hard to get started. But you can see the thing doesn't weeble wobble because I used the tailstock to keep it flush, keep it perpendicular. So that is it. Put that dude back, and then grab this and show you. Come on, focus. Focus. There we go. Kind of. Come on, man. You can do it. Hang on. For the love of God, it won't focus. It's got oil on it too, so you can't actually see the thread the best. Let's see here. Trying, people. There you go. So it's a pretty good looking thread. Now I've got my parting blade, and I'm still going to keep the thread fairly long. Let's see here. Because what goes through the barrel, I'll cut it off and file it. So let's see here. This is probably too high of an RPM to do this, but we'll try it. Now it's cutting it. Actually, put a chamfer on that and fix the threads, because I'm pretty sure that probably boogered them up. No, sweet, goes right on there. But one thing we'll do. It didn't break my parting bit, did it? No. So one thing we'll do is we'll slow the lathe down. Jeez, oh. trying to keep this thing lubricated as you're parting it off. Chamfer corner. Gotta grab something to catch that. Keep having to take my microphone off and put it back on. Ta-da! There is a little, you guys can see that, a little nub. Let's see, is it focusing? I can't tell. I'm trying to work backwards. Anyway, there's a little nub that I'll chuck this dude back up and cut it off real quick. And then I'll bring you back to let you see what it looks like. So, to show you real fast what we have now, if it'll zoom in, is this. Nothing special, nothing nifty, but we'll be drilling a 60 thou hole through it and then cutting a slot for the light to gather to make the fiber optic actually work. So we'll do that and then we'll see how this dude looks when we're all done. Bring you back. Alright folks, we are back. I made, of course I don't have the microphone plugged in now. Oh well. Real quickly, I took a piece of angle iron and hopefully this is showing up pretty good on camera. I made sure that it is completely square. Did that on the mill and drilled and tapped it for my sight. And what I did was use the drop of super glue to keep it in there so it won't spin out when I drill and mill it. So this is just going to be used as a holding fixture, kind of a jig, and that way I can twist this dude around, spin it around 90 degrees and know that I'm machining it straight in the way that I want it. So get this thing set up in the mill and I will bring you right back and show you what we're going to do next. Alright folks, so I am back and I got you zoomed in here. Sorry the tripod's shaking a little bit. It should settle down here fairly soon. Let's see, can I get it to stop? There we go, a little bit better. So what I've got here in my quill, and I really don't want to back out because I'll shake the camera again, but in my quill here I've got a 1/8 inch rod. So it's 125 thousandths. I know that my diameter of my sight is 254 thousandths was what I ended up at. So what I've got is a piece of paper here that's 3 thousandths. And what we'll do, we will keep going. I'm running the part in towards my rod. Right there, it's just now sticking. So I'll lock this down, zero my dial, remove this, and I'll run it in 3 thousandths. 1, 2, 3. So it's literally just now touching. So now to get my center, the center of my drill chuck, let's see here. I need to get the center of the drill chuck on the edge of my part, because you got to think right now it's off half the diameter, so it's off 62.5 thousandths from being on the center line of my part. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and run this dude in 62.5 thousandths. So right now the rod is on the edge, well, the center line of the rod is lined up with the edge of my part. So my part is 254 thousandths in diameter. So I need to get to the center of it. That's 127 thousandths. So I've got to turn my dials twice because they're 62.5 thousandths each turn. So I got to move them 1, 2, that's 125, and then 2 thousandths. 1, 2. Now I am directly dead center in the middle of that part. Of course, it's hard to see from that angle, but it's dead center. So now what I need to do is, try not to shake the camera, guys. I'm sorry about that, but my microphone wires is kind of pulling on it a little bit. So what we'll do is get a center drill. Let's see here. Now I have to decide exactly where I want the thing. Probably right about there. It's got to be drilled out to 60 thousandths hole. So we'll say right there we should be good. So I'm going to spot this. Of course, I'm trying to be careful. So let me go grab my drill bit that I left over on my workbench. Keep you guys there for a second. Hook my microphone back up. Alright. Now this drill bit is a tiny little dude. There you go. So we're going to have to be real careful and hope that I don't shatter it. It's very easy to do on something like this. So we'll use a little bit of white oil. Come on. There. There we go. Doesn't take much. Just a tiny little hole. We'll get all the way down through this thing. And this is the hole where the fiber optic rod's going to go through. Just trying to be gentle. Again, the funny part is that this literally would have took me no time to make. But because I wanted to make a video for you guys, I'm doing it anyway. Instead of just ordering one. But at the same time, I hate ordering parts because then you got to pay for shipping. Then you got to wait for the thing to arrive. And it's one of those guns that kind of like to get out of the queue. Another thing too is guys might take note of is I see it happen on a lot of videos is that when people drill, especially using high-speed steel drill bits, they use way too high of an RPM, and I don't know if it's because they just don't know better or because it says right on the package high-speed steel. High-speed steel has nothing to do with the RPM of the tool. It's just the name of the steel. High-speed steel is a tool steel. It can be hardened and tempered. But I thought I'd bring that up. Use high RPMs, you'll just burn up your bit super fast. What you want is low speed and high pressure, especially if you're cutting through something really hard. So there, we made it all the way through. Raise the quill up out of the way, and we've got our part. So I can actually go ahead and take this thing out, and I'll have to deburr the sides of it. Let's see here. I'll show you. Get on camera. Yeah, there we go. That's the side I'll have to deburr, but it goes right through the thing. Then what we're going to do is we're going to mill a slot across. I know I got long fingernails. It's the only way I can hold springs and detents and pins and little things like that. But we're going to mill a slot right through the center there, and that is so the fiber optic rod can gather light, or else it just won't work worth a damn. So we'll do that next. I'll get you set up and bring you back. Alright, so brought you guys back. This time I switched out to a collet and a round nose end mill to make that slot across that. So we're going to try it with this end mill, and hopefully I get the results that I'm looking for. And I brought you back on the other side too, so. Kind of trying to take it easy since this is a fairly small part, only being held in by the threads and being super glued in place too. And we've at least got to go halfway through the 60 thousandths hole that we drilled. So we've got to go about half the depth of that, enough for the fiber optic rod to be exposed. Again, trying to take it easy, going nice and slow. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on there. I know the camera's shaking a little bit, and I apologize, but I don't have a remote microphone. They cost a lot of money. And can't tell. I think we're getting close to the drilled hole. Yeah, starting to break through the top of it. And I'm going down 10,000ths at a time. Trying to take it easy. We'll go a little bit more. Okay, let's see something. Grab my little 60,000ths drill bit again. This one's way smaller, but we'll try it. So we just gotta get the burrs out of there and to get all that filed, making it look nice. There we go. So yeah, fiber optic rod will be able to gather light when we put it through there. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I'm all done with it. So let's get this out of here. The quill out of the way. And take that guy out. And get it on camera. Of course, the burrs make it look like crap. I'll have to clean all that stuff up, but I'll have to clean that up and deburr it, but you can see there, the hole goes all the way through, so when the fiber optic rod is in there, light can gather and expose the top of it right there, but you will, the actual bead sight will be this way. This is the way you'll look at it down the barrel. So I got to get it deburred, and we come back again, and I'll show you me putting the fiber optic rod in there. So bring you back in a minute. All right, people, I'm back again. So I've got this guy. Let me make sure I can get on camera. Got this dude deburred, and I will show you what we're going to do. Got a little piece of fiber optic rod. Some people don't know this, that how you're supposed to install this. Let's see, I got one of these edges goes in much better than the other. Okay, that edge goes in. So what you're gonna do is you take some sort of flame, and yeah, I know it gets loud, but you bring your fiber optic to the rod and just barely melt the end, and it'll roll over into a little ball. And let's see if you can, let me get it in the camera, there we go. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. There we go. And you can see how much better it gathers the light now too. So you do that, then pull this guy through. Make sure I'm on camera doing this. And then, oh, you can see that there. So now it's sticking out there, and that's what I was talking about, gathering the light. That's what that little slot's for. So what I will do is, let's see here, get a pair of cutters without dragging the microphone all the way over here. Probably should have grabbed my cutters first, but I like to do things backwards. Shoot, if I can find them. Let's see here. Alright, there we go. That's all the noise I'm making. So, got my cutters and cut off enough to be able to melt that back. That's honestly probably a little bit too much. Yeah, there we go. That might even be a little bit too much. But it doesn't matter, it'll just melt a larger little ball there. So what we'll do, same deal. That's perfect. So what we got now is focus. Got the fiber optic rod to where it can gather light. Let's see if I can get this thing. Come on, focus. I'm trying, guys. Dang it. Let me see if I can zoom out so you guys bear with me here. If I zoom out, it might focus a little bit better. There we go. So that is our sight that we made. And again, I know this video is probably going to end up being long when I edit it and everything, but this literally would have took me probably, realistically, probably about 25 minutes to make this. So we will put it in the gun, and I don't know if I'll show that or not, but I've got to shorten the barrel. The guy wants it for a home defense gun. So I'm going to shorten the barrel and then have to drill it and tap it and then go ahead and install this dude. But it actually works fairly well. Actually works really well. Gathers a good amount of light. And of course it doesn't show up on camera worth a damn, but it works good. So, all right. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the likes and anybody that comments. Don't get a whole lot of that, but hey, whatever. If you got comments or questions or anything like that, go ahead and shoot them to me. And like I always say, like, subscribe, do all that jazz. And appreciate you watching.